What's up to you fans, and welcome back for another video here on PL Tech Reviews. In this video I'm going to be giving my reactions to the latest WWDC conference, which took place from Monday the 6th of June until the 10th of June, with the keynote lasting for nearly 2 hours, and giving my thoughts on what Apple announced, and give my thoughts on how accessible the next version of iOS is going to be. Apple also made other announcements as well. However, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to include all of these in this video, but I will do videos on each of them in the future. The next installment of iOS will include a redesigned, customizable lock screen, as well as improvements to the Messages, Maps and Home apps, new sharing and personalization capabilities, and more. The new fully customizable lock screen allows users to edit numerous design elements, including type styles, colors, and whether or not you want to include emojis. As well as this, you're also able to create multiple lock screens, which you can easily switch between by swiping. The notifications in the next version of iOS will roll up from the bottom of the screen, but they also come with another new feature. To help make room for your new customized lock screen, Apple now allows its users to hide their notifications, allowing more space for further customizations that you want. Focus has been a big hit since it was released by Apple in 2021, and I've personally found it useful when I've been working. In iOS 16, Apple plans to enhance focus even more, with users now able to tie specific focus modes to your customized lock screens, as well as applying focus filters so that you will get less notifications from distracting apps such as Messages, Twitter, Instagram, and Calendar. The new version of Messages will now include the ability to edit or delete sent messages, as well as allowing users to mark a message as unread. But I know what you're thinking. When are we going to get this on Twitter? As well as this, you'll also be able to send SharePlay sessions, which put simply are links where you can watch and listen to the same content as friends in different locations directly into the Messages app, and these links will be activated straight away. The new dictation experience keeps the keyboard open when speaking, allowing those who use it to use a combination of speech and typing, while also automatically adding punctuations and emojis into your messages, which you can also use with Siri. Also, in the next version of iOS, live text will be expanding to video, allowing users to select the text in plain videos, and as well as that, live text will also be making its way to the Apple Watch, so older WatchOS users will have an extra way of calling numbers if they need to, or finding out what something translates to. I do find these features with live text interesting, but it would be really good if you could use it when you're in the middle of a video call, and I'm not sure that is going to come anytime soon. But there's also been improvements made in relation to visual lookup, with users now able to pull out subtext and to drive them elsewhere. Numerous features have been added to the Apple Pay and Wallet app, starting with the ability for you to share virtual keys via message. As well as this, Apple also announced their Pay Later service, which allows users to pay for purchases in 4 installments over 6 weeks with 0 interest and no fees. And we're also getting an Apple Pay order tracking feature, which will make it easier to track purchases from retailers. More and more countries and cities have already been added into the Maps app in recent years, which has seen a 2D and 3D design being added, and even more are to be added in the coming months. But adding to Apple's support for multitasking, they're now adding multi-stop routing, which will allow users to plan up to 15 stops ahead of time. When you're planning your journey, you'll be able to start your plans on a Mac and continue them on other iOS devices that you have lying around, as well as having the option to add other stops using Siri. The included transit feature also allows Apple users to see the costs of a journey while you're planning, with transit cards being even heavily integrated into the Wallet app. Sports fans will also be in for a treat, because the Apple TV app can now display information about sports games via live activities. Although I wonder if they could get me live coverage of the Spanish football team, especially while they're in the gym. Although Apple has made family sharing and kids accounts easy to manage in the past, they will be introducing a couple of new features. The next version of iOS will include quicker ways to set age-appropriate restrictions, from Quick Start to Screen Time requests and messages, a family checklist feature, and more. The new safety check feature will be available in settings and allows its users to quickly turn off the access that others have to your location and information, which will be a welcomed feature for many people. The Home app has been completely redesigned in the next version of iOS, with a new main tab view to see your entire home in one place. As well as this, we're also getting access to new dedicated categories such as climate, security and more, and this and tiles which will make accessories more recognizable. But along with all the features on iOS 16 and new updates, Apple also announced the move from the Mac's M1 chip to the M2 chip. The M2 chip features an 18% faster CPU, a 35% more powerful GPU, and a 40% newer engine compared to the M1 chip, supporting up to 24GB of LPDDR5 unified memory, and featuring 4 performance and 4 efficiency cores. It also supports 100GB of unified memory bandwidth, which is up by 50% compared to the M1s. As well as all of these features, the M2s also come with a 10-core GPU with 2 more cores compared to the M1. The peak performance is 87% of what you would get from a 12-core PC, and you'll also get an improved media engine that supports 8K, a ProRes video engine to play back streams of 4K and 8K video, Apple's newest security technology, and a new image signal processor that delivers better image noise reduction. The models of M2 Max that were announced at WWDC were the 13-inch MacBook Air and the 13-inch MacBook Pro, which you are now able to pre-order. So what are my final thoughts on what was announced at WWDC? And is iOS 16 the most accessible, yet what do the developers need to try even harder? While I find the customizable lock screen an interesting new feature, Apple will have to make sure that moving the elements you want to add around is easy for everyone to do, even if they are disabled and can only use one finger. Likewise, I feel that the new dictation features were a good thought on paper, but it does raise questions over whether or not physically disabled people could use it as well. But I don't really use dictation, so I can't really comment any further. But as far as all the other features go, I think the next version of iOS is going to be incredibly useful, although it would be useful if Apple could bring back the ability to talk to Siri via a voice command for those who can't double click the side buttons, and the same should apply for when you're trying to pay for or to download an app, as to confirm using Face ID or passcode option was just a lot more accessible than the current confirm using assistive touch. Turning to the M2 MacBooks, however, I think the M2 MacBook Air is going to be extremely popular for production, but I have to admit I would have preferred seeing it released in a bigger size, such as 15 inches. As far as the built-in cameras go, I just don't see how the MacBook Pro that is on offer can compare to the M2 MacBook Air, although I would find it interesting to see what happens because more of them come out and whether or not the M1 actually becomes more popular. Still, at least it's good that Apple has continued to keep the M1 MacBook Air on the market, as it might be a good option for students and anyone struggling under the current economic crises around the world, which in the UK at the minute is a cost of living crisis. The idea of coming out of the COVID pandemic and government ministers misbehaving, although let's admit it, if we're in Northern Ireland, others misbehave more than others. The only other thing I would have preferred seeing with the M1 MacBooks is that I would have loved to see their price fall, but we'll see how everything goes in future. Hope you enjoyed everything in this video if you've made it this far, and don't forget to check out all of the links in the description. And this is Steve Slow with my reactions to WWDC video Hoyt.